Hi and welcome again. It's Milan with the Tuning Into the One video series, and we've been covering an awful lot of material in this video blog of Tuning Into the One, looking to find, attract, keep, build, and grow true lasting love in your life with that special, amazing soulmate, perfect Mr. or Mrs. Right for you in your life right here, right now, to be able to get those results starting in hours and days and weeks, not years, not decades. And so the personal journey that took me 3+ decades to get through, 4 weddings, 3 wives, 2 divorces, and 1 beautiful son, it's quite the journey's end when you travel. And so many of the different personal development and human potential books, whether you're reading The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, or something as practical as The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, or The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, as well as so many other amazing novels that are out there in terms of fiction. The 3 Musketeers, All for One and One for All, The Count of Monte Cristo, the idea that you are imprisoned for the wrong reasons and then you spend time in a prison and then somehow you miraculously find a way to free yourself, to find your fortune, and then to go out into the world. Cinderella story, whatever it is in fairy tales and fiction, as well as in the world of personal development. There are always adventures we go on, and as I covered in our last couple of videos, one of the most amazing places is when you find your true north. This is a place that through good times and bad, through the magical as well as the miserable moments, we find a way of really getting in touch with who we are, what we're all about. After all, the test of a person's character is not when times are good, it's when times are challenging. It's when we come into that place of contrast that really helps to define our character as far as who we are. As they say, when the chips are down, or it's when the blank hits the fan, that's when we get to show up. So just like the beautiful background as well as the music you're listening to in the background, which is Amazon Prime's Liquid Mind playlist radio. When we come across these special moments that help to define us internally in terms of who we are, what we're all about, how we show up in times of adversity, of challenge, when the tough is really required to bring out the best in us. Recently I was working with a client, and it was almost like the energy started moving exactly what someone wanted happen, but it didn't happen the way they wanted it to happen. It didn't happen on their timetable. It was essentially not the right place, right time, right situation as far as how it happened. And that helped me to remember just how many times in life we can feel like the rug's been pulled from underneath us, how we got hit by that 2x4, how our lives came crumbling down. For me personally, 1994, the year of living dangerously, the Northridge earthquake in January, a car accident where I almost ended up like roadkill, and a splash on the 134-101 split in the Hollywood area of Los Angeles. That was February. In March, on her birthday, my first wife left. In April, May, we liquidated our business, our import-export business, heavily in debt. In June, my dad dropped dead of a heart attack at a wedding reception, at a wedding I had just been to, and said goodbye to him, that I'll see him the next day, because the next day happened to be Father's Day. And then in August of that month, my mother lost her job. So no wife, no life, no car, no business, no means of making money. 1994 was Milan's personal year of living dangerously. And many of the tools, many of the processes, oftentimes when our proverbial backs are against the wall, when the rug gets pulled out from underneath us, when we get hit by a 2x4, our world comes crumbling down, what do? Well, essentially when you start putting together everything that we help to bring to light in Tuning Into the One, we covered the mission, vision, purpose, MVP statement as far as your personal identification, your your purpose, who you are, what you're here to do, your vision, what are you here to do specifically, and then your mission, how are you here to do it or to accomplish those things. It's important to keep your focus on true north, especially when those tough times happen. Or it's a good time to define yourself when those tough times happen, and this helps to do that. This being the 5, you could think of it as the helping hand of healing and as well as of health. From the standpoint of the 5 little pieces, you can remember this way. The first one would be awareness and acceptance. Awareness and acceptance, as in the 7 sacred soulmate signals, the first signal being connection, contains awareness, information, and intimacy. Awareness is so important. We need to be aware of our environment, stay connected with our world, even when the proverbial bad stuff, quote unquote, bad stuff happens. So accepting the world as it is, life as it is, and being aware of our environment, our surroundings, will help us to buffer when these things happen so that they're not so much of a shock. No differently than financially, if you were to save up money for a rainy day, that would be a buffer. You have an awareness that something can go wrong and you will accept it much better if you're prepared for it. So awareness and acceptance is the first piece here in the helping hand of health and healing. The second piece is accountability and responsibility. You want to make sure that you realize that there's an accountability and a responsibility factor for what happened, how it happened, and you want to be able to own your own stuff. Then the third piece in the helpful hand of the 5 pieces is forgiveness and surrender. You want to be able to forgive. You don't want to really look at this and get into the effect side of life. You want to be on the cause side of life. And emotions and feelings and situations and people might have done horrible, terrible things. Practice what Jesus of Nazareth taught, 7 times 70 forgiveness. It's a way of letting go and releasing yourself from the pain, from the suffering and the sorrow. And then the surrender is really just allowing it to melt into the past. Surrender yourself to the situation as it is. So accept it. Become aware of it, accept it. Understand that there's accountability and responsibility for what happened. Own your part. And the third step of, or the third finger, the third element in this process would be forgiveness and surrender. Forgive the situation, forgive yourself, forgive others, and surrender it so you can let it go and allow it to be something you can look at in the rear view mirror. Otherwise, you carry it with you. You carry that piece, and then it's hard to have gratitude and thanksgiving. So the more you fight or resist forgiveness and surrender, the more it becomes difficult to practice the fourth piece in this, which is gratitude and thanksgiving. And of course, at the end of it all, if you don't forgive and surrender, there's the other side. So we'll cover that in a second. These are the pluses. These are the 5 fingers of the helpful side. Then there's also the other side of the coin, which is the 5 fingers that represent more of the hatred and the less enlightened side, the dark side, if you will, the dark side of the force. So gratitude and thanksgiving are harder to practice when you don't or are not able to allow forgiveness and surrender to enter. Then if you're able to let forgiveness and surrender enter, then you're into gratitude and thanksgiving. And once you reach that point, then the final piece, the 5th finger, which is really the opposable thumb that helps you to really be able to grasp the situation and lift yourself up and out of any situation and any circumstance, is humble and gentle joy and enthusiasm. Humble and gentle joy and enthusiasm. Allow all the emotions to come up that will, and allow those emotions to present themselves. Allow yourself to take responsibility and accountability for the way things happened. Have a level of awareness and acceptance. They did happen. Own your stuff. Begin the process of healing through forgiveness and surrender. Allow that gratitude and thanksgiving for where this brought you to allow you to get out of it and start looking up with a beautiful, humble and gentle sense of joy and enthusiasm, which will allow your hope to continue. So what are the parallel, not so bright spots of the negative side of the helping hand of health and healing? Well, that would be the hand of hatred and ignorance. So that first finger or that first step would be ignorance and denial. So practice awareness and acceptance. Do not fall into ignorance and denial. Practice accountability and responsibility. Do not fall into blame and shame. Practice forgiveness and surrender. Do not fall into judgment and attack of yourself or others in order to justify. Blame, shame, justification, judgment, attack. They are all very limited in their usefulness and utility, and they will only bring more pain and more suffering to you and to everybody else who might be in the equation. Practice forgiveness and surrender. Do not fall into judgment and attack. Practice gratitude and thanksgiving. Do not fall into envy and resentment. Envy and resentment will bring out the worst in you, negative emotions. Allow the gratitude and the thanksgiving to see the positive in every situation and allow it to come up. And finally, practice humility. Practice a gentle, humble sense of joy and enthusiasm for what the future has to hold, for the lessons that you've learned, for the amount of healing that you've been able to present yourself with, and stay out of bravado and bragging and showing off. So when you reach that place, it's really wonderful. Joy and enthusiasm with a humble, gentle dignity. Allow the true core essence of who you are to come out. So awareness and acceptance, not ignorance and denial. Accountability and responsibility, not blame and shame. Forgiveness and surrender, not judgment and attack. Gratitude and thanksgiving, not envy and resentment. And humble, gentle joy and enthusiasm, not bravado, bragging, or showing off. So when difficult times come, remember, you have the 5 helpful steps in the helping hand of health. Or you can succumb to the other side, the hand that doesn't feed health or healing and that can feed more hatred. Your choice. When you move powerfully forward, allow yourself to find that place and that space of awareness and acceptance. Take accountability and responsibility for what happened and your part in it. Allow yourself to forgive yourself and everyone else and surrender the process and leave it in the rearview mirror. Allow yourself to practice the gratitude and thanksgiving of knowing that this lesson was well learned and that you are moving forward with humble, gentle joy and enthusiasm, that the best is yet to come, that the future has an amazing opportunity for you to grow and glow and shine your light, to be able to find, attract, grow, and build true lasting love with that special someone right now. So until the next time, this is Milan saying, if you're looking for Mr. Right, you're in the right place right now. Take a look below this video and look for more details. As always, you will have to qualify, limited space, limited opportunity, and soon to be going away as we get busier and busier on our journey. Wishing you all the dating success and amazing relationship mastery. Until the next time, this is Milan signing off and saying bye for now.